just introduce me everywhere. Can you tell my wife how awesome I am?
She said yes, brother. That's enough.
Well, let me first give honor to God for making all this possible. I want to thank the Association of Black Law Students here at Rutgers, ABLS, which did come before National Ball, so I know that. And with me, your president, and in fact, could I have the entire executive board for ABLS please stand for a second and just be recognized? Thank you for putting on and continuing the tradition of Jazz for Justice. Look, it's not easy finding a jazz band in between like Evidence and Crim Pro, so I feel for you. Let me also, of course, recognize and thank my beautiful wife, Martha, who is sitting here with me tonight, who visited me here in Newark when I was a broke law student without 20 bucks in my bank account with this crazy idea that I was going to be an attorney. But she came, visited me from Kansas, here in Newark, encouraged me, continues to encourage me, continues to inspire me to be a better man, better husband, better father for our daughter. And I just want to say I love you. Thank you. To my 1844 brethren, could you please stand and be recognized for a second so I can talk about you? I take my squad with me. So, as you heard Don mention a moment ago, 1844, this is just a fraction of our group. We're actually 60 of us in New York City, practicing at big law firms and in-house counsel. But you all going to have a seat now, thank you. The whole time. We started this group 4 years ago out of a necessity for black attorneys to come together and support each other and make ways for each other. We talk every day, we invest in each other, both personally and professionally. We use each other as a sounding board when many of us are the only black attorney at many of our respective law firms, where we come together as a collective and help each other out. We invest our money together, we give back to the community, everything that Dara outlined. I'm really proud to be among you brothers, and I'm glad, really proud of what we started. So thank you guys for being here tonight. And then, of course, congratulations to my co-honorees, the Honorable Victoria Pratt, and also to Lloyd Freeman. You ever see those stories about identical twins who were separated at birth and they end up growing up completely independent of each other for their entire lives in like different parts of the country, and then like 30, 40 years later they meet up and they're like both firemen and they both married like the same type of person, and then they both have like all of these identities? That's Lloyd to me. Lloyd is my brother from another mother. Lloyd and I, both from Kansas City, both grew up in Kansas, both pledged Kappa Alpha Psi, both ended up going to law school the same exact year. He at Rutgers Camden in 2004, myself here at Rutgers Newark. Both came out in 07, both went into big law, both married women who are much smarter than we are. Both have 2-year-old daughters. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, this is to see this brother here tonight warms my heart. Congratulations to you, brother. I appreciate you and love you. In 2004, when Lloyd and I were coming to Rutgers Law School at the time, we were celebrating the then 50th anniversary of Brown versus Board of Topeka Education. For those of you who maybe not up on your state capitals, Topeka is the capital of Kansas, where Lloyd and I are from. So we know all too well the vestiges of institutional racism and segregation. And now, here we are tonight celebrating a couple other 50ths. We have the 50th anniversary of ABLS, the 50th anniversary for the National Black Law Student Association, which will be celebrated in March next month in Brooklyn. And of course, the 50th anniversary of the Minority Student Program here at Rutgers Law School. I I submit to you, it has never been more important than now to be a culturally responsible Black attorney, and especially in this climate. And I'm gonna circle back to that. You see me today, as Dara gave me this amazing introduction, outlining a lot of the stuff that I have now. I'm an executive director in the big investment bank in Wall Street, and yada, yada, yada. But when I was in your shoes, sitting in this seat, where you are now, where are my law students at? Can I just have a round of applause for law students? Okay, if I could just be selfish for a second, I'm just gonna talk directly to the law students for a minute. Y'all can still hang out. I remember coming to this event every year and listening to alumni talk and thinking to myself one thought: this is great, but I don't have a job. No job. It's hard to focus when you're a law student with no job. So I brought this tonight. My wife probably thinks I'm crazy. I was going through our closet looking for this stack. Because when I was in your shoes, I went to career services and I talked to a bunch of attorneys and I got my resume together and my cover letter together and I submitted it out to all these law firms in hope of getting employment. And I brought with me tonight some of those, in fact all of those. This is my stack. Over 200 resumes and cover letters sent out to legal employers during my first and second years of law school. All came back rejected. Every single one. Not a single acceptance. I thought there was something seriously deficient with me. Very humbling experience. And so I've seen rejection stated every kind of way you can imagine. You have such excellent credentials and academic achievements, however, we cannot offer you a position at this time. They put that "at this time" at the end of like mess with you. Have you thinking like Dumb and Dumber, like, so you're saying there's a chance? No, not really. My favorite rejection letter is actually not a letter at all. It came on, and I'm not making this up, a postcard. Unfortunately, there are presently no positions available to you with our firm. Imagine the amount of my business out in the street with this postcard. Like 100 people saw this before it got to my apartment. My roommate saw it, the postman who delivered it saw it. I don't know who this Conway guy is, but good luck, buddy, keep your head up. So, as I started to go through this stack some more, and look at these letters, I started to notice something else about them that stood out to me. Many of these letters, although rejections when I was a law student in your chair, in the same seat you are now, would be completely different outcomes today. And not because I'm a big-time in-house counsel attorney at some Wall Street firm, it's because of the relationships that I have established along the way from where I was sitting to where you are now. Case in point, I have a rejection letter here from a friend of mine today, Jamal Houghton. Jamal Houghton, at the time, was an associate at a law firm. Jamal, in case you don't know, is currently the general counsel of Samsung. And I'm proud to be able to count him amongst one of my many mentors who I have today. And I have his rejection letter here signed. I actually shared this with him just recently when I was going through the stack. It's safe to say if this same scenario played out again today, where Jamal had influence to be able to help me out, I have no doubt he would. Back when I was a 2L, he didn't know me, I didn't know him. This is just another interview that I had, that I actually got through the Tulsa job fair, by the way. But at the time, we were complete strangers. I had no network. I didn't have that relationship developed with him. Another example, I have 2 rejection letters here from the same firm. I applied as a 1L and a 2L. They rejected me both times. Then I went on to graduate from law school, and this same firm not only hired me, but then when they found out that I was being honored here tonight, bought a table and is here tonight celebrating. And I want to say, Riker Danzig, thank you very much for coming out. Again, relationships. Last but not least, when I was in your seat, I was sitting there as a 2L, and my buddy Nexus, raise your hand so everybody knows who you are. Nexus, who's in my class, and I want to shout out my other classmate, Annie, who's here tonight, I see you. So, we were in the same class, and Nexus had, through his relationships, secured an externship with a federal judge here in Newark, in the District of New Jersey. And he, as Nexus does, he's very meticulous. He got in there, he did an amazing job for the judge, impressed the judge. At the end of his semester, when his externship was over, the judge turned to Nexus and said, Nexus, you were amazing. Do you know anyone who you could recommend to take your place after your externship is done? Nexus said, I got just the guy. Comes to me and says, Conway, how would you like to interview with a federal judge? Sounds cool. I'm working on like 200 rejections at the time, so what's one more? So I go into the judge's chambers for this interview. I prepare, I look up the judge, I look at his cases, I read up on him, I know all of his jurisprudence. I go in there fully ready to impress this judge with my great body of knowledge. And I'm all the while thinking, man, this is gonna be another rejection. There's just one more to add to my stack. I get in there, the judge has me come in, sits there. He says, Mr. Ekpo, come in, have a seat. Nexus tells me you come highly recommended. I said, well, thank you, Your Honor. He's like, so, can you start on Monday? Literally just happened like that. 200 rejection letters, a 30-second conversation based off a relationship, job. And it couldn't have hit me harder than in that moment. And so why am I stressing relationships and jobs? I think it's important tonight, I'm circling back to my earlier point about being culturally responsible attorneys. You might be aware there's a new president. I gather he's probably not too popular, but there's a bunch of stuff that goes on in the news every day that you see this current president and administration doing. But what's not going on in the news, and what I submit to you, what needs to be paid attention to, the fact that as of today, Donald Trump, in his first year in office, has successfully appointed 13 judges to the United States Courts of Appeals throughout the country. A record for any president in their first year. By comparison, Obama had 3 by this point. He's also, of course, as you know, appointed Neil Gorsuch to the Supreme Court, another 10 district court judges, and there are just going to be more rolling out. This is where the true battle takes place for our civil liberties, for our rights, and it has never been more important to be a culturally responsible attorney on that battlefield than it is right now. But we don't get there without these relationships. Things like affirmative action and our programs that we have here. We have MSP in its 50th anniversary, even though it is a post-admissions program, meaning it has nothing to do with your admission to the school, but nonetheless, someone could argue, and I'm sure someone might, that the consideration of race at any level, no matter how narrowly tailored, is going to be unconstitutional under the 14th Amendment. Just prepare yourself for that argument, it's coming. And we all know, with this level of speed of judges who view the world very differently than you and I, it is only a matter of time before the next Abigail Fisher or Barbara Grutter makes another play to strike down affirmative action, and then programs like the ones that we know are going to be gone. And what I want to submit to you all is that the 50th anniversary of MSP is awesome, and I hope that we have another 50th anniversary, 100th anniversary sharp rather, 50 years from now. But I want us to be deliberate in getting to know each other and establishing relationships with each other. That's what inspired us to start 1844. We didn't wait for anyone to tell us to do this, we just did it. And I want us to be in a point where, if that should happen, if one of these programs and affirmative action is wiped out across the country as a result of all of these judges who are taking the bench, I want us to be in such a position, having developed relationships with each other, having looked out for each other, having been my brother's keeper and my sister's keeper, to the point where if there is no more affirmative action or an MSP or any similar type of program, I want us to just brush our shoulders off and just keep walking. Thank you for your time. You guys are great. Thank you for letting me come back and homecoming to me. I love you. Appreciate it.